Rob, you have Ospreys this weekend. Before that, I just wonder, you obviously strengthened the squad this week or last week with the likes of Ollie Devoto and things like that. How close are you now to having the side that you want for 2016-17, as it were?
Yeah, very close. We're very close to kind of announcing a round of re-signings of current players who are here, who have come out of contract. So we'll probably be making some announcements on that next week, which obviously we're really pleased about. We've got some young academy guys. We're pretty much finalising their contract extensions as well over the next week or two. And we're close to bringing in pretty much everybody we want for next season. A couple of, one of whom may turn up at the end of before the end of this year. And we're also quite close to bringing in a lock to strengthen our lock department till the end of the season as well. So we've been pretty active over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I say we're pretty satisfied with where we're going to be next year.
You talk about that lock. Obviously, there are the injuries to people like Mitch Lees and Damien Welsh and so on. Is that a player based in the UK? Is that a player based overseas? What can you? If you can tell us his name and all that sort of stuff, brilliant.
I can't announce the name yet. We'll be able to do it, as I say, possibly over the weekend, maybe Sunday evening. We'll be able to announce. But it's a I say UK based player. He's a player involved in the Rabo Direct at the moment. We think it's a really good fit for us. And people will understand that when they see the player it is. Initially with the first injury, just to Damien, we were probably thinking we could get through things and we had enough cover. And I've been really pleased with Ollie Atkins and Johnny Hill and Sam Skinner. But I think the second injury to Mitch just kind of tipped the balance too far for us to just try and battle our way through. If you look at the fixtures up, still got another Champions Cup game this weekend, and then we've got 10 Premiership games on the bounce. And actually, you do start to think, not just training numbers, but playing numbers, we're going to get a little bit tight. So we've worked pretty hard to get the right kind of guy. We're really pleased with who we think is going to come. That should all get wrapped up over the weekend. As I said, we're hoping that we'll add a back to the squad before the end of the season. As I said, we should be announcing that pretty shortly. And that guy will then stay around on a longer term contract. So we're feeling like we're pretty much there. Obviously with Greg Holmes, we've already signed. We're very close to signing a lock full time for the next couple of years as well, and so we're feeling pretty comfortable with where we are next year. Again,
that back that will join you very soon and for the rest of this season at least. Is that a player UK based, overseas based? What can you tell us about him?
He's overseas based, and as I said, we'll be announcing it shortly. I mean, we've still got to wrap up quite a few details on visas, etc. And as I've been burnt before with visa issues that seem to have dragged on for 6 months sometimes. With different guys, and we feel like we're announcing something every week on them. We'll just wait and see, but hopefully by mid-February we'll have someone over here, and I think that will just then kind of complete the look of our backs. With Slady being injured, Sam Hill in and out, and now caught up with England. We are a little bit vulnerable. Obviously, bringing in some extra cover allows us to increase our flexibility. We know Nosey will probably be away with England, so having guys who can cover 1 or 2 or 3 positions is going to be very important for us in this next 10-week block.
You look at the players that you have here at the moment, and obviously you gave some players a chance to impress you last week at Bordeaux, and the likes of the Max Badillis of this world and people like that. From Max's point of view, we've just been chatting to him. How do you feel he has settled back into the side in what was his first game since last season?
Yeah, very well, and obviously we want to keep working very hard with Max going forward. He's a guy who's gone down to Pirates and he's got his head down and worked very hard. That's what we expect from our young academy players. Make sure they fit in and they strive to be very good championship players first. When he's come back and played in the A-League, he's done very well. I was really pleased with him, obviously in the game over at Bordeaux. There was the odd error, but they're the errors you expect a young player to make. He'll hopefully just improve with the time we spend with him both on the pitch and off the pitch in reviewing his game and just letting him have time to develop and move forward. And it'd be fantastic if he becomes another academy player who comes through. But as I keep saying to these lads, it's actually harder now. It's actually harder to come through as one of our academy players now into the senior group because we're striving for bigger and better things than we were 5 and 6 years ago. 5 and 6 years ago, it was talking about breaking into the Premiership and staying there and starting to create a team that can be competitive. Well, now we're competitive, and we're talking about creating a team that can win things. So these young academy guys, they've got to work even harder. They've got to be even better than they were before.
The squads for England, Scotland, and Wales were all announced. Players from your club in all of those squads. This will be your first kind of Six Nations block where you lose a large number of players. What extra challenges does that give you on top of the injuries anyway? Because it will be the first time you've really experienced something of that nature and that number of players to go away in February.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in some ways, it doesn't feel too bad because obviously guys who are going to get called into the training group, Luke Cowan-Dickey, Sam Hill, haven't been fit anyway, so we've been kind of getting along with those guys anyway. Dave Ewers obviously is still injured and being called up. So really, it's only really Jack who gets taken as an extra body. Obviously, Hilly's nearly fit, so if he goes away training, that does take him away for a little bit of a week. Obviously, what potentially will start hurting the squad boys is like Michele Campanaro now going off to Italy, and two tight heads going off into training camp. So it is going to be a little bit of a tough challenge, but we've always said here that we want to be very proactive in trying to bring very good players here, and we want to try and produce England internationals of our own. So it's no good us crying about it now when we actually achieve what we want to achieve, which is getting guys into these squads. What we have to do now is work very hard and take all the positives out of things. And as you say, every player who goes away, every player who gets injured, creates an opportunity for someone else. What we have to do as a coaching team is give those guys who come in the very best opportunity to do well, and a lot of that comes down to how we train. We've said to the guys already that we're going to expect actually more out of them over training over the next 10 weeks, because we want to have a squad of 35, 36, whichever number of players we've got here training. I want them all to be match ready, and some of that will come from us actually toughening up the amount of training we do, particularly with the guys who aren't getting regular game time. I want them to make sure they're getting through a number of tackles, a number of contacts, the number of things they would need to do if they were playing in a Premiership game, because that's the best way of practicing, that's the best way of staying sharp.